What we're going to be talking about here today is United Way's strong work in the area of reducing barriers to employment and advancement. This is an initiative that we've been working hard at for the last few years and have a lot of things in place, and we're really gaining some fantastic momentum. So I'm excited for you to learn more, for you to ask questions, and to hear from the expert herself, Miss Samantha Mitchell, who leads our Diversity Leadership Society, as well as really champions this work. So she's going to share with you a bunch of information, and then we will end the session inviting you to actually write notes of encouragement and support for local job seekers who will be participating in our annual Women's Job Seminar series later this fall, as well as the many partners that we provide funding to through our Reducing Barriers to Employment work. So without further ado, I would love to transition it over to Samantha Mitchell. Before she gets started, I would love for you to take part in this poll question. This is just setting the stage for us for what Sam is going to be talking about and sharing with us. So if you would take that poll, and then Sam will go ahead and start the presentation. So 5.1% of white Americans are unemployed across the United States. What do you think that percentage is for Black Americans?
Thank you, Carissa. As she shared, my name is Samantha Mitchell. I'm our engagement manager of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives here at United Way. And I lead our Diversity Leadership Society, which is one of our donor networks, and two programs, Project Lead and Partnership Milwaukee. I'm excited to share this time with you all today and talk about the Diversity Leadership Society's work around reducing barriers to employment and advancement. This initiative is anchored in the belief that all adults of working age should have the opportunity to obtain permanent employment with a livable wage at a workplace where they are treated with dignity and have opportunities for advancement. We focus on four core pillars: education, training, and credentials, transportation, involvement in the justice system, and diverse talent retention. This helps families create safer, more stable, and healthier homes. But unfortunately, today, that is not our reality. We know that over the last several months, the unemployment rates have skyrocketed since the onset of COVID-19. The coronavirus pandemic has had a really disproportionate impact on Black workers, and addressing this issue is really critical for the success of our broader community. This is why reducing barriers is such an important initiative for us this year and for years to come. So I know many of you have participated in the poll. In the second quarter of 2021, the Black unemployment rate in the US was 9.2% as compared to the white unemployment rate of 5.1%. With the support and engagement of donors and advocates like you, together we can get to the root of that problem. But first, it starts with systemic change. And in order to dismantle systemic inequities means that we first change those systems that aren't working and invest in people who produce better outcomes. DLS, I'll say DLS because I'm going to say Diversity Leadership Society a lot. But our Reducing Barriers to Employment and Advancement initiatives aims to identify, connect, and empower organizations that are successfully removing barriers to employment and building bridges to close opportunity gaps in our community. Each of the Reducing Barriers to Employment agency partners we fund cover different elements of those pillars. And I'd love to introduce you all to a young man named Leon. Leon represents what is best about our community. He's passionate, driven, focused, and just needed a little bit of support and guidance on his path to achieving his goals. And that's where the Reducing Barriers to Employment initiative partners come in. And more than just building a brighter future for himself, Leon looks forward to spreading the wealth and turning around and investing in others. Let's meet Leon.
The life that I want for myself is an abundant life. In life, you just have to have confidence. You know, be confident in yourself, be confident in who you're becoming, be confident in the future. But you know, in order to become something, you have to sacrifice. You know, so I admit I sacrificed a lot, you know, to get to where I'm at today. My name is Hughes Jr. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised here. I'm a young, sophisticated man, you know, with big plans, big dreams. It took a lot to get here, you know. Been through a lot of trials and tribulations. Growing up as a man of my color, you know, hasn't been easy. You know, there's not many opportunities or there's not many people pushing. And it's like when you have those, when you have someone who's able to guide you and you have someone who's able to help you, you know, to better yourself and put you in a better position, it makes it a lot easier. Right now I'm in my CDL classes, you know, planning on becoming a truck driver. You know, I also want to own a few trucks years down the road, like, you know, maybe a 5-year goal or a 10-year term goal, you know. Give people an opportunity.
My name is Devona Wright Cottrell. I am Chief Legal Officer and General Counsel for GMR Marketing and a co-chair for Diversity Leadership Society for the United Way. Leon is a person who had like this big dream, but not necessarily understanding how to get there. United Way's Reducing Barriers to Employment and Advancement initiative is incredibly powerful and important for individuals like Leon to be able to connect him to the resources that are necessary to make sure that he has a successful career path.
The mission of Employment Milwaukee is to assist individuals who are unemployed, underemployed, to gain self-sufficiency. So for our young people, it's about developing some skills that can get you on a career path. And with that career pathway, who's helping you along the way understand your self-worth, your self-value, building your self-confidence, understanding where you're trying to go and who's your cheerleaders. So we here try to be that for our young people.
My first meeting with Employment Milwaukee, it was great. I had called to talk to this lady named Miss Tracy. And Miss Tracy, she interacted with me so well, it just made me feel like it was meant for me, it was home. I would say probably a few days later, you know, she came to me with an opportunity to work for the city, you know, just to gain enough time for my voucher. You know, and once I got the voucher, then I was all set to go with my classes. So I found 160 Driving Academy through a selection of schools. So with 160 Driving Academy, they got me in right away. I'll be graduating February of 2021. And then after that, you know, searching for employment. With truck driving, the opportunities are endless. But with Employment Milwaukee, it makes the process a lot easier, you know, rather than trying to figure everything out on your own. Most definitely expenses as well. You know, with Employment Milwaukee, they fund for your programming. You know, or for any class that you decide to take, they help fund you. So with the opportunity like that, how can you not take advantage of it and succeed?
Organizations such as Employment Milwaukee, they understand that education, training, and credentials are really, really important to help individuals build a pathway to their career. United Way invests in partners that are also able to help individuals with things such as transportation. You never think transportation would be a barrier to employment or advancement, but it is. Also help individuals who are re-entering the workforce or society after spending some time through the justice system become employable.
Success in the program is truly defined by the impact that the program had on this individual. The United Way funding allows us some flexibility, some innovativeness, some ability to meet the needs that other funding doesn't necessarily allow. This just really allowed us the ability to do more and increase our capacity of support.
Today I'm more humble. You know, more resilient, more disciplined, has more courage, more integrity, more honor. With Employment Milwaukee, it's like a family, you know, and I advise anyone to join the family. Everyone around me is proud of me. You know, they're happy that I'm taking this next step, you know, to better myself and put myself in a better position. And hopefully, God willing, you know, they're there for me in the future to see, you know, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, who I become.
What I love about Leon's journey with Employ Milwaukee is first, his confidence and his willingness to apply himself, to seek out resources and allow Employ Milwaukee to guide and work alongside him, not for him. In the Black community, that step right there, taking initiative, is one of the hardest steps for a lot of folks, being willing and eager to work and create a brighter future for yourself. A lot of people come from families where they don't get that support, that nudge, that extra encouragement. And that's where our agency partners come in. There are so many factors that affect one's ability, to focus on finding and keeping a job. Trauma, mental health, childcare, family issues, transportation issues, and I can go on and on. And these are blind spots so often overlooked by employers. I'm going to paint a picture here. So let's say I'm a single mom of 2. I just started a new job. One kid is old enough to take the bus to school. The other is at a new school and has to be dropped off at 7:50 a.m. Well, my boss wants me to start work at 8 o'clock, which is impossible, right? I go to my boss, I ask, can I start at 8:30? This will work out better for me with getting my youngest child to school. They say no, even though there's nothing major going on in the office from 8 a.m. to 8:30. I'll let you all imagine how that scenario plays out, which is a harsh reality and it happens every day. And there are other things that contribute to these blind spots and other factors that affect one from keeping a job. Everyone deserves permanent employment with a livable wage at a workplace where they are treated with dignity and respect and have opportunities for advancement. We fund organizations working on educating, training, driver's license recovery, re-entry, innovative transportation solutions, all of the above. The other piece of that is holding employers accountable to build environments where employees can thrive, advance, and sustain. Thousands of young Black and Brown Milwaukeeans migrate every year to larger cities like Atlanta, DC, Houston. And this is a major hit to our city, our businesses, our healthcare institutions, and our ability to attract talent. What do you all think folks are telling people when they when they start at a new job in a new city about their experiences in Milwaukee? They weren't valued, underpaid, overworked. It really does not stop at training someone and getting someone a job. What's happening inside the workplace and how employees are being valued needs to really be top of mind. We want advancement in the workplace. We want stellar workplace culture. We want pay equity in the workplace. If a city like Milwaukee can come together, change the way we think, the way we hire, the way we develop and nurture talent, the way we pay, imagine how many folks we can attract here. And we need that because there are thousands of jobs in this city. And I can talk about this forever. And I just want you all just to see the bigger picture on the other things that impact one's ability to sustain and maintain a job. Our growth, the Diversity Leadership Society's growth and impact has increased tremendously over the last several years through our signature events, including the Men's Job Seminar, volunteer activities, advocacy on policy change, and our work around reducing barriers to employment and advancement. Last year, the Diversity Leadership Society raised over $3 million, with $1 million of that being designated specifically to reducing barriers to employment and advancement. That allowed us to fund 4 new organizations this year, including Independence First, Literacy Services of Wisconsin, the Mindful Group, and WRTP Big Step. So how can you help? As you all prepare to donate to United Way through your workplace campaigns or personally, I hope that you'll consider opting into the Diversity Leadership Society at the leadership donor level and designating a portion of your gift to our specifically to our Reducing Barriers to Employment and Advancement initiative. And on behalf of United Way and the Diversity Leadership Society Council and our co-chairs, Jasmine Johnson, Grady Crosby, and Devonna Wright Cottrell, I'd like to give a special thanks to our Reducing Barriers to Employment and Advancement sponsor, Manpower Group, and an additional thank you to Johnson Controls for their increased diversity business match. Thank you to both companies for your generosity and your support. I also have to give a shout out to my partner in good, Shannon Reed. I think he's on this call. He's our director, our racial equity director, and we work very closely on this initiative together. One more thing, I want to thank our minority business partner, Rashad Howard of Cream City Print Lounge, because now through December 31st, Cream City Print Lounge will donate $1 of their single item sales and 5% of their bulk order sales to our Reducing Barriers to Employment and Advancement initiative. So make sure you all stop by, grab a t-shirt. They do print parties. I will for sure drop the website link in the chat so you can have all the information you need. But please stay connected to our work. Visit the Diversity Leadership Society page on United Way's website. And as always, feel free to reach out to me with any questions. Thank you.
Well, I would love to open things up, certainly for people who have questions in this area. But Sam, I'm wondering if you could just speak a little bit more to some of those blind spots that prevent individuals from being able to not only seek, but like maintain employment once they're able to secure that job. And would definitely invite this group, we're going to throw it up in the chat, but what do you think some of those blind spots are? What are things that are inhibiting people from seeking and maintaining stable employment?
Well, I mentioned a few of them and the list can go on, but but I think the mental health piece is a big piece that we're focusing in on. Trauma, like I mentioned, childcare and the transportation and family, all of those factors, those everyday lifestyle factors contribute to one's ability to even want to get up and go to work and be successful or be in their workplace and happy to be there. I remember there was a time when I hated a job so much that I just walked in with like, I hope no one says anything to me today. And we want to reverse that. And a lot of this is also what's happening inside of the workplace. Are these people feeling valued? Are their voices being heard? Are they making the money that they need to be making? We have to talk about even pay equity. That's a big issue right now, especially with our Black and brown employees not being paid like white folks in the workplace. That's a huge thing. And that contributes to mental health. You can't provide for your family. You can't get your car fixed because you can't get to work because you can't get your car fixed. All of this is layers that contributes to one's ability to sustain at their employer.
Peter has a good question in the chat, Sam. So how does transportation figure into employment and missed opportunities? And is there a mass transportation option, or is there something that this initiative is working on specific to transportation, since we know that is such a blind spot and such a potential barrier?
Well, one of our newest funded partners is the Regional Transit Council, led by Mr. Dave Steele, and he's working on innovative transportation solutions, getting folks to jobs that are in areas like Waukesha and New Berlin. We have so many people that live in the city of Milwaukee that need to get to these jobs that are in different suburbs, but the bus lines only go so far. So we're excited to partner with Metro Go and come up with these solutions to get people to work. That's just one off the top of my head. But transportation plays a huge role. When you think about the engineering companies, manufacturing, all of those companies who need employees and have a lot of jobs are so far away that folks from Milwaukee can't get to. And that's why that's an important piece that is a part of our four pillars, is because that is very important. Driver's license recovery. That's another way we're challenging these transportation barriers. People getting a driver's license. Some people have a suspended license before they even have a license. And it's just crazy. So those are all ways that we are tackling those transportation barriers in this work.
No, such good information, Sam. And I think for many of us, it's things we just don't always think about. That's why you call them blind spots, right? These are very real things that just layer on top of one another that make maintaining that job feel next to near impossible. And you're just in this cycle of going through the same motions over and over. Shemaine had a great question, especially since you brought up mental health being such a big piece of this. Who are specifically the mental health partners that may be at play in this work? And what are they doing or are planning to do to help?
Well, I know for one of our newest agency partners, the Mindful Group, they tackle the whole person in their programming. So they're starting with when that person walks through the door, they're asking, what's going on in your life? How can we support you, not only getting a job, but what else do you have going on that might hinder you from being successful in our programming? And how can we work with you to combat some of that? So they even work on transportation issues that'll relieve some of that. Okay, now I can get to work, providing transportation. They're thinking about childcare. All right, well, we got these child care partners on deck. Let's work out a system to where you can drop your kid off here at this time and still get to work on time. And I think more and more employers and businesses in our community need to share that same mindset and allow people the flexibility to have, to be able to work out those issues as they navigate their day-to-day in their work. So that's the first company that comes to mind, one of our newest agency partners.
That's great. Dave popped in the chat, and this is a little more of a statement, but I think it's something great that you could probably speak to too, Sam, and especially with COVID-19 and just the way our world has shifted to more of a virtual climate, virtual environment, that, access to reliable internet to not only apply for the job, but if you are being required to work remotely, how does that access to technology piece kind of fold into this work too?
Yeah, it plays a major role. And since the pandemic, United Way has provided, internet access to a lot of folks, even, through an MPS partnership. So, and a lot of our agency partners have taken on, providing laptops and providing ways for their clients to get access to these jobs to apply. But it's a huge thing, and we're working collectively with our community partners and our agency partners on resolving some of those issues and barriers to internet access for sure.
Great. And then Michelle in the chat kind of took it a step further of, COVID especially presented this divide between the ability for people to work from home and then having to physically be on site. And perhaps people working remotely, it may be easier for them then to juggle some of these additional challenges, whether it be mental health or appropriate childcare. So is there anything being done to kind of connect people with tech training or some upskilling opportunities so that they may be more skilled for a position that they could do remotely and would offer them more opportunity that way?
Yeah, and we have our new initiative, Tequity, that Carissa can probably speak to a little bit more. But well, we have that, and then our agency partners are thinking about these things as we are as well. But it really takes the community, and it takes us to keep bringing this up and to keep talking about it, to make sure it's at the top of mind, because we can't do it alone. So, as issues arise, bring them to our stakeholders, bring them to United Way, so that we can, tap into all of these wonderful agency partners that we have who are working together to combat a lot of these barriers.
Awesome.
And
Joanne.
I see they just dropped a little bit more about Tequity in the
good.
chat. Yep.
Get that. Joanne put in a really good comment, and I think this is important too, of like, what is United Way doing to, build bridges and help local employers who maybe have a culture that presents as a barrier for individuals, or when a business says, we don't even realize that our culture isn't welcoming, or that we have policies in place that make it very, very challenging for people with different circumstances to be employed here successfully. So can you talk about maybe how this initiative is also working on the employer side to better prepare them for employing individuals?
Well, our Reducing Barriers to Employment and Advancement Advisory Committee is tackling on or challenging local businesses to, shift their mindset. And there's one business president, Fred Anderson of Winthy Davidson, who really has this culture and this understanding, and who's really setting the tone, especially on the Waukesha side, on this exact issue. And it starts with senior leadership. It starts with challenging leadership to think about how they address their workplace culture, how they value their employees, and how they, and being open to supporting their employees through their journey. And so, and keeping and allowing them to sustain employment. What I love about Fred is that every principle that he has instilled, his staff follows suit. They're all on one accord, and they influence a welcoming environment for their staff, and people want to work there. They are working with local community partners. I know they worked with the Joseph Project in Milwaukee on providing transportation, getting people from Milwaukee to their facility in New Berlin. That's huge. Imagine if we can get other businesses to share that same mindset. So our committee is definitely talking about those things, definitely talking about taking it to the employer level. We're actually also working with Ubuntu research on the dignity piece in evaluating our newest agency partners and the partners that they work with in the programmatic work that they're doing. Excuse me. So it's so many layers to it, and we're doing our part. I don't know if Shannon wants to go into details on the community impact side as far as reducing barriers and the measurement and the outcomes, but all of that is bundled into the work we're doing with reducing barriers to employment.
Sam, if you give me the mic, I'm gonna drop a hot one real quick. I think, as you stated already, when we think about some of the barriers, right? And I think you talked about the percentage, right? So what we're looking at is when we think about our BEA, our specific pillars, as Sam has alluded to, we want to create where we can get more folks back to work, right? Whether it's training credentials, whether it's transportation, involvement in the justice system, and diverse talent retention. One of the bigger pieces is, I think I saw something in the chat around transportation, and what Sam talked about. I mean, there are pieces, and I think someone was talking about also in here is, how I get to work, me taking a long time, buses are not getting to where they need to, can be a huge issue. And so what we're trying to do is just from the organizations that are a part of this work, we are having them actually meet the need of where we are, right? So if there are folks who are trying to just get to that livable wage, when we think about folks who, we are also working with an organization called Milwaukee Job Works, which is a pathway to healthcare. Healthcare is huge right now, right? So when we think about folks who are a phlebotomist and who wants to become a CNA, right? How do we get them to that next level where it could be just a credential or it could be a accreditation for them to be making a livable wage? And so those are pathways that we want to create. And then other organizations like Employ Milwaukee, where there's a support, right? We all understand that some of the work that we do, if we just had just a few supports around the work that we do, it gives us a way to just do a little bit more, right? If I'm going to work for an organization that's telling me I need boots or boots to work, like how can we not be an assistance to help those folks get the boots so that they can do their work, right? I mean, it just takes those small things, and United Way is doing everything that we can along with those organizations because they are the expert in that work. All we know is that we collaborate, we convene, we bring them together, and we ask the questions. And so we'll keep digging more, as Sam talked about with our committee. They are leading us in great work. They're giving us the right answers. And so wherever we can help, we're bringing in organizations to help us think about it differently. And we'll keep changing the narrative and doing impact from that standpoint.
Thanks, Shannon.
Shannon, I wonder if you'd want to or care to elaborate just a little bit more as well. Kelly from Circa was really asking some thoughtful questions about, what outlets does United Way provide for individuals seeking employment to network, to share with each other? What kind of support systems are we working to also create for people as they are transitioning, looking for employment, looking to change things up? I don't know if you wanted to maybe just speak to the job seminar model, where that's going.
So
Sam or Shannon.
we have our men's and women's job seminars, which is a plethora of just resources. We do training, resume training, interview coaching, prep. There is follow-up after the event through some, mentorship opportunities where volunteers can, try to stay in touch with some of these job seekers to make sure that they have everything that they need to prepare them for success, whether it's, brushing up the resume or getting ready for that interview, or even just the day-to-day on sustaining a job. What should I ask in the workplace? What should I look for? Are there any employee resource groups that I need to be a part of? What should I be doing, and what should I be pushing for inside the job that I'm working at? And we have volunteer opportunities around that. We have an employee resource page on our website where we have just job opportunities, trainings, certificate opportunities, job fairs, everything that you can think of as it pertains to preparing for or even shifting in your career is on that website. And I encourage you to share it, to look at it. If you have resources that you don't see on there, if there's a category on there that we don't have included, send it our way and we'll add it. We definitely have mental health addressed on there as well. Other community resources are provided, but that's a great hub for people to visit, to look for, job resources and just the day-to-day tools that they might need to be successful.
And Sam, can I add one thing to that last part? Not only do we have that specific website, but we also check that website to make sure that it's up to date. We know that we also sometimes go to websites that have information that's been out there for years, right? No one's checking it. We are doing a check on that website every 2 months to make sure that information is up to date, that things are not redirecting. And sometimes in between there, right? There are a few that you get redirected to, But we comb that website to make sure that is up to date. So I just wanted to share that as well.
Thank you both to Shannon and Sam. If anyone has any other questions, this has been such a wonderfully rich discussion, so many fantastic questions. You know, I wanted to chime in that I think what United Way seeks to provide with those job seminars as well is not only access to mentors, opportunity to connect with local professionals, and certainly some of those tactical skills like preparing your resume, how to handle an interview, the things to say, the things not to say, like the culture and how to adjust. But I also think a big piece of those seminars is really encouraging and coaching individuals to advocate for themselves, that everyone has worth, everyone has values and skills that can contribute to an organization. They have a place. It's just finding that right fit for them as well as for the organization, right? And I think that empowerment piece is so powerful because so many individuals we work with are often hearing no, or they're up against barrier after barrier after barrier. And that really erodes at sort of that empowerment piece. And that's something we really look to try to restore. And that's something we really use volunteers to support too, is reinforcing you are valuable, you have worth, you can go somewhere and do great things, you can do what you want to do with this life, and we're going to make sure we connect you to the support to do that. So just such great work that we're doing in this space, and I think so many great things to come. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, I'm happy to kind of transition to the last component of this lunch and learn, which is the doing. But I want to pause for a moment and just see if anyone else has any questions. Looks like the link is working for the virtual resource library, which is an amazing collection, as Shannon and Sam have shared. We're always looking to update it, always looking to include more resources. So certainly if you have any, or if you work for an organization that does this work too, we would love to include some materials. All right, wonderful. Sam or Shannon, any last final words, anything you want to share with the group before we transition?
No, thank you all for sharing this time with me. And like I said, I'm here to answer any questions. Please stay connected. I'll drop my email in the chat if you have any follow-up questions or any information that you want to get my way. Thank you, Carissa.
Thank you, Sam. Amazing. Shannon, anything?
Same thing Sam said.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you were able to join us and to hop in. So appreciate it too. You both are doing such amazing work. I also would be remiss if I didn't take a quick moment to thank our sponsor of this Lunch, Learn, and Do, which is Johnson Controls, who is really invested certainly in this work and also wanted to provide this really unique opportunity for you to learn more in this area. So special thank you to Johnson Controls for making this possible. Also, if you feel so inclined and so passionate about what you heard today and you would like to consider making a financial gift to support this work, I'm going to pop the link to that in the chat. It will take you directly to a donate page. If you are so interested, please consider making a gift to support this work. And now to our do component. So I have the distinct pleasure of everything that I work on at United Way is all very volunteer focused. So we talked about this critical issue. You had so many great questions, sharing so many unique perspectives. Now is our opportunity safely and from the comfort of our own desks to really write virtual notes of encouragement, support, solidarity, helpful reminders, tips, tricks to local individuals who are currently job seeking. We will distribute these notes of encouragement through our upcoming women's job seminars. We share the different notes and sentiments at different points throughout the presentation. We also print them and include them with some job seeker kits that we mail out to them directly after the seminar. And we will also share these with those partners that Sam mentioned that are working on reducing barriers to employment at the local agency or nonprofit level. So these are great things that they can share with their clients and their program participants, again, to just let them know that we believe in them. They have value, they have worth, they can do this. They have the support of their community behind them. So I don't want you to come up against writer's block. This doesn't have to be difficult. I'm going to pop the link, which will take you directly to a form. We just ask you to share your name and your email. You'll then see kind of a body text box, and you're invited to write your note of encouragement there and submit. It's super easy, super fast. I would challenge each of you, if you have a little bit of time, how about each of you write 5? We have 13 minutes left of this session. I would love for you to take some time, write 5 notes of encouragement that will go out to local job seekers. This opportunity is live on our website indefinitely. So this is something that you can definitely share with friends, with family, with colleagues who perhaps are also interested in just supporting local job seekers. So please know it's something that you can share far and wide. I just popped it into the chat right now. Again, I would love for you to each of you write 5 notes of encouragement that will go to local job seekers. And perhaps share the link with one friend, one coworker, one family member who may also do the same. If we all take a little part of this, just imagine how much we're going to envelope individuals in support and encouragement and reminders that they are so worth it. So with that, we will conclude our session. I will be sending out a follow-up email because we also have an opportunity to pack those job seeker kits that I mentioned. So these notes are going inside larger kits that help with someone just preparing for an interview, needing a little bit of resources and extra tools that will help them throughout their job search. That is a curbside carrying opportunity. So that's something you can do comfortably from home. We pre-bundle all of the supplies, you pick them up at United Way, take them home, pack your kits, return them, then we distribute them to those that need them. So in your follow-up email, you will be receiving a link to that opportunity. If that is something you would also like to participate in, we would love to have. That opportunity has also been graciously sponsored by Johnson Controls, who gave us a sponsorship to provide all of these goodies that then will be able to be given out to local job seekers. So I want to thank you. On my back end, I'm already seeing the notes of encouragement coming through, which is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for raising your hand and for taking the time. I hope you learned a little bit today. I hope you will consider for our next Lunch, Learn, and Do, which is going to be on November 2nd. Shannon Reed, who you met today, will be leading that session, and we'll be talking about all things equity, diversity, and inclusion, and we'll have a unique volunteer component during that session as well. So stay tuned, but thank you again for sharing your time, and we hope you have a wonderful day.